it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Good morning. I hope you guys have a fantastic day out there. Thanks for your support and checking out the video. Well, take two. Take two. You know, when you do this, I was going to say for a living, but that's not what I do. When you do this for a hobby, when you do this a lot, you're going to run into little issues along the way, and I've sort of talked to you guys about those as I've gone along. But I think the most annoying one, other than actual hardware problems or software problems that stop you from doing it, is when everything's working right, you sit down, you get everything set up, you get going, you're yapping, talk, and get to the end, finish, and you look over at your OBS or your recording software and it is not recording and you have no idea when it stopped. Because I have some hotkeys and ways of how I get into this, sometimes if I inadvertently press something or move the mouse off of the screen, there's a number of things that will cause this. But anyway, this is take two. It's quite a long one. I've made it longer with this intro. Why not? Let's get going. It is a Jicana from Clan Gat. He's anonymous. Nobody knows who he is, why he is here, or what he is doing. He is going to get quite anonymous, but he's going to get anonymously smacked as well. Let's get to that. Sent me this replay in the legendary Scorpion, and he's got the G version. He's got the G version that has the Perma 2D camo on it, the first one that came out. And we are here on Himmel's Abidorf, and he's going to get anonymously smacked right here. Notice that the Barask is cruising up through the middle, and we're waiting for a shot potentially on something. This is a good idea, and ow! He gets... First time I saw this, and now this happens to be the third maybe at this point, based on my buffoonery. I keep checking the recording over there. We're good. He takes a stab back there. First time I saw it, I went, what just happened? I think one of two things. We're going to pause this, actually. First one is that somebody down here, somebody being the Scorpion, which is what hit him, was on this corner, which is the analog to the north corner from the south that can see down this middle road. Either blind shot into this spot, because it's a known spot, or was shooting at the Barask. Either way, we have lost 462 hit points right off the bat. So Jicana, God, this one's a hard. I don't want to say Jick because that sounds a little bit naughty, actually. Maybe I'll just struggle through the whole name. Jicanazo asked me what could I do better here. And he has a pretty decent game. What we're going to see is some nice TD work here, and then later on some pretty good teamwork and turtling up into a corner. Man, is that more common now? Am I just, I'm going to say, seeing things, or let's call it imagining things at this point? I don't know, folks. I don't know. I have another video or another replay that I may do a video on. We get spotted by somebody trolling around the middle right there. And it feels a lot like it is more common that you have teams that will pretty early on, as they start to lose, go into a corner, grab bushes, get defensive positions. It's obviously been something the entire lifespan of the game, but it feels like a bit of an epidemic now. People just transition to the defensive so fast anymore. Let me know what you think about that. On the one hand, I feel like I'm maybe imagining things, and it may also be that I'm doing it more to try to get wins, so it feels like everyone else is. There's probably some of that. You know, I'm probably part of the problem right here. And is it a problem? That's another good question, you know. You talk about how people play the game and what they're doing. It's a problem. It's bad for the game, all these things. Well, is it? I don't know. I don't know. I will say one thing. It does tend to get wins in a lot of cases. I like this right here. He finds this a little bit, very carefully aims in, puts a big thump on him with the old 397. Unfortunately, that's a horrendously bad low roll. I don't know if you can get any lower than that. Not much, right? 25 per 100, and it's a 490. So I guess it's close to 125 minus a few. So it's not the worst low roll you can get, but wow, that's a low one. So while I've been yippity-yappeting right here, let's take a look at what's going on the mini-map, because one of his questions was, how can I do better in this game? I like the initial position, unlucky on the shot, whether it was a blind shot or just somebody taking a poke at the Borosk and you caught it in the face. You did lose some hit points right off. There's just not a lot you can do about stuff like that. You look for early damage. Most of those positions are known. If somebody has some kind of blind shot capability, these positions are going to get blind shot quite often. Not every game, but quite often. I suppose you could look at the skill level of the guy who shot him and see if maybe that's a really good player. But, you know, even players with average stats will know these spots, especially if they're tens of thousands of games into playing World of Tanks. So you take what you get at that point and move on. So then we hung out in the middle after that, and we got a couple shots. We're okay at 964 damage. The Borosk is doing a lot of good work trying to keep the guys in the middle, and you don't really want to let them break free and start spreading to the edges, although limited capability in the Abbey. Yes, you do have shots over onto the west. Yes, you do have shots over onto the east, but it's not a great position. It's a good position, and you hate to have three guys in there kind of running around doing whatever they want. So you feel beholden to hang out right here, but you're not really doing much right now. Right? Yes, there is an argument that, let's just get this going. There is an argument that holding them off and making sure they don't get into the middle or break free or are too free to work on the two flanks is a good thing. But at the same time, you need to be putting damage down range and trying to help out. So the Basante is dealing with about 3 tanks over there. We have a pretty good scrum going on over the west side. And this is kind of, for me, if I look at this 2020 hindsight debrief style, I would look at this and go, well, don't you have a lot of mobility and a good gun? Okay hit points at this point. The Sturb is sitting here supporting the Borosk. I think, for my money, you take this mobile Scorpion, you head over to the west side, and you sneak around right here on the low edge, and you start trying to punish guys who are turning the corner on your T-32. And you would have had to started moving pretty early. Now, these are hard rotations, metaflex, what else can we call it? Whatever you want to call it. The flex, right? The rotation, the reposition, that's the word I was thinking of that everybody likes to use. Those are hard decisions to make. Now, the Borosk has bailed out of that. So that's a little tough. And you can see the defensive mindset starting to take hold on the team, and it's also starting to become a little bit late. I would have taken that snap and backed out. It was an opportunity, and now we're really screwing around. I can see that you're working that little hatch, and you're thinking about the bush as well. Maybe just trying to get the spotting going on. There you go. So now we back out to where the bush is thick. Or, sorry, we can't see through it. All right, let's just talk about that real quick, just from a small kind of micro skill positional idea. That's a pretty decent bush, and you may have a lot of experience with this particular spot, so you know it's going to work. But if I'm unsure, I auto back up. Because the reload's so long on the Scorpion, there's really no reason to sit there. The other problem with just sitting there like that is if you do hit him and he puts the line on, he knows exactly where you are, you may eat a return blind fire shot. So make it harder, back out of that. I would just be very careful about sitting in one spot, even when you're not spotted. Obviously, if shots are available, that's a bummer because he started to move and you would have had a nice shot right there. I don't know if it was your shot that got him moving, but the Borosk was thumping him as well, so he decided to get on out of there. Unfortunately for you guys, you didn't take any hit points off him. Your west side is now collapsed, so it's too late to go over there. I would not suggest that. It looks like both you and the Borosk, I'll spit it out here. Notice that the west is going down, and off you go. Man, I thought this was a dangerous line to take because you are so in the spotting range of these guys in the middle. I know that the west side collapsed, but you had time. I would have gone straight back this way to the edge of the map and then crossed over. You may have thought you didn't have time or just take a chance, but look how far into the spotting ring you are even now. I'm really surprised, to be honest, that the S3 or one of these other guys wasn't sort of peeking around trying to catch guys doing what you're doing, but you got away with it. Borosk does a pretty good job with the game. Now we're going to get into the part I talked about earlier where we get into these sniper nests with bushes and corners at caps, which a large percentage of the maps have, not all. The one I'm thinking about that I've got the other potential replay for and might do a video on, although it will be redundant because I'm sitting here crying about it right now, is Proc. And I don't remember which spawn it is. They're both pretty problematic for pushing, but one is quite bad. It's the one that's got the water in the corner because it just has more bushes. It has a better capability to watch the cap in the other direction. The one side is very narrow. The Lorraine drowning was bad. Now, I didn't look at that. I looked at it when I did the other video. Wait, I got to check. I'm still recording. All right, good. We're good. He's right over here, and he's going to say deeper than I thought. I don't know. I think he was trying to get up on the back edge or do something. I've done that before, so I don't know if that was on purpose. Based on the calm and where he was, I'll give him a pass on that one. The 122, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. That was a good opportunity to take that guy down. So here we are. We're in this corner, and now the other team's got to try to figure out how to push. And this is where you have to be really careful on both sides. Number one, for you on the defensive, is doing exactly what you're doing. Minimize your exposure. Look for shots of opportunity. Hopefully the Bros doesn't get killed. And keep on trucking on. Keep on taking hit points away. That was a good shot. Do things like that. You have to take that. You knew you probably were going to get spotted, but you really needed to take that opportunity to close that guy out. For the enemy team, what they've got to be very careful and cognizant of here is, and the Brosk is shooting, so that's a little bit interesting to me. He's using the bushes, it looks like, but it's going to cost him here in a minute. They've got to be careful about not coming at you one by one, right? The 274 Alpha died, and how do you approach somebody in this corner when you're the attackers? Now, I don't know if they know these two are here. I'm going to assume that they do. They certainly know somebody's back in this corner right here. So how do you approach? Well, you can't come up and over this ramp and come right at them. It's just too much open ground. This ramp is probably a little more useful for peeking and hold down tanks. There's also this approach over here, hugging these, let's zoom up here a bit, hugging these rocks right here along this edge and kind of sneak around and see if you can't start engaging these guys. The biggest one that the enemy team doesn't do here, which surprised me very much, is they don't come up the 8 column from the south. Nobody ever approaches from that direction. They just keep on pushing in straight in. So we'll just kind of watch how this develops. The Brosk is doing a pretty good job. Then we have the 122 come over here and he hits it. Nicely done. So not a bad idea on his approach, and it has a lot to do with whether, I mean, I don't know why he was so far over there. He may have come around from the edge. So if he came up the, 7 column, he didn't have a great opportunity to cross. So he was trying to sneak around, but my goodness, that is just so exposed to this position where he died. That is horrible. You have to try to get to this over here, and he's probably worried about the larva. So maybe hiding out around the corner for a while this low moves in, and it just feels like this enemy team is coming at you piecemeal, and this is how you lose these situations. You're outnumbering them quite a bit, and you just can't make it happen. See how they've got the Scorpion G and the larva both in one spot, and there's the position where the Baras dies. What he did, I think, is he backed up to where he had a nice full bush, so to speak, against that guy, but look at the line of sight. And that's what you got to watch out for in this game, is there are always multiple line of sights. And that Scorpion, it looks like it was the Scorpion, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but I think it was, or the larva saw him, or maybe both, and they're able to take that guy down. That was tough. That's a bummer of a miss. You did get lit. I didn't discuss the arty that's raining down on you from every direct, well, not every direction, there's only one of them, but continuously, let's call it that. Good news is that thing reloads fairly slowly, and you do get a little bit lucky a couple times in here, but there you go. This larva that's on your team is not a particularly good player. He's done a good job keeping his hit points, but then again, what else has he been doing? This is kind of my discussion earlier about flexing, meta flexing, rotating, whatever you want to call it, repositioning over to the 1 and 2 column and maybe try to stop that. I think really, if you'd gone over there a little earlier, you might have been able to, if not maul that push, hurt him pretty badly. There you get hit by the arty right there. The counter argument is, do you get too deep in there and too exposed and lose too many hit points? It's possible. All right, wanted to discuss this right here. You get stunned. You still have your kit. You're coming out to get a shot. I really do, in situations like this, do 2 things that you haven't done. Number 1 is I'm going to use my kit so I can get rid of the stun and have a more accurate shot. Number 2, I'm going to press 2 at this position of the game. You may have gone, ah, screw it, it's a loss. I'll just take my hit points and my experience and my credits. You have to let us know down there how you're feeling about it. But if I'm trying to maximize the damage, at this point, you've done a really nice job sticking with AP. But let's press 2 and make sure those kind of shots go in. Press 2, use the kit, get rid of the stun, and we slap that low much better right there. Also, be careful about sitting in one spot. That M4043 is going to start reloading here in just a minute. This was interesting. We're going to sit here for a bit. Let's also talk a little bit about how you kind of maneuver. You really do it like from the turret position. A lot of spinning around here. This is a difficult spot right here to move around in because you're running up against the rocks. The Scorpion doesn't have great gun depression, so I can see you're working in that little pit, trying to make sure you can get a shot. I can also tell you're really worried about somebody coming around this corner right here. But I really think you need to be moving up here and taking a peek and see if you can't catch that other Scorpion trying to make a move. Although it's unlikely he's going to make too much of a move because more than likely the Lurva will see him. That position, he's just tall enough to kind of catch somebody who comes up on the plateau, even if he doesn't really have a great shot at him. So the Lurva's kind of moving around. I might try to prioritize that guy and get rid of him. And this is pretty funny. You're going to see it for just about as long as it takes to reload. You move forward, you creeping forward, you creep forward. Now watch this, guys. So, I mean, if that was intentional because you thought that shot might be coming in, that's pretty dang good, man. If you were doing the old timer in your head or whatever, then the IS-3 makes a move. Look how long it takes the turret to swing around. We slap him down. Oh my gosh. And just like that. Just like that. And then the IS-2 dies to the Lurva trying to make a push. And holy cow, what's going on here? We're 2v3 all of a sudden. They're going to start talking about the Lurva needing to push. And for a wonder, he actually listens. This is the teamwork part. Really nicely done in his part. He loses a bunch of hit points in here, but he is able to spend his hit points in order to engage the low hit point guys, enemies, and essentially win the game from here. Nice job, though. We really came into this with only 900 damage, and now we've cranked it up to 2457. You know, I don't know. I guess you think maybe the Skorp's going to come this way. So one of two things here with this Lurva pushing. Either push with him, or I think I would have just come around this corner and tried to take out this Lurva and help the other Lurva, or at least go forward to where you're in position. And oddly enough, we find that guy up there. Lurva takes a big hit. Scorpion's reloading, kills him off, and then the enemy Scorpion who's spotted goes to another position. Not really the wisest move here, and we thump that guy. And it's essentially a win. I'm not going to watch the rest of the game. What happens, guys, is the Lurva gets on cap. It's a cap win. Jacanazo goes all the way down here to the southeast and then all the way back up, I think, the 8 line and starts back up on the cap trying to find the other Artie, thinking that maybe it ran on the 8 line somewhere, but he doesn't end up finding it. 2,816 damage, 4 kills, and a nice comeback defense. You guys have to let me know what you think of that as far as being a problem or not in the game. If it's more common now than it used to be, or if I'm just getting the feels on that. It's probably just that. It is frustrating, and I will tell you where it is more common, and it's because it's better players. At tier 10, that is very, very common, and I can't tell you how many games I've seen lost where it looked like a Rompelstomp was starting, but good players dug in and started working hard to not die and being careful, and people just chucked their tanks at them, and next thing you know, this team that was down 5 gets into a corner or a defensive position, and all of a sudden they've come out of winning because everyone goes out on piecemeal. If it was an organized game and you had a competent caller, most likely that kind of stuff is very rarely going to happen, but this is pubs, and you just don't know what everybody's going to do. In terms of Jacanazo's game, whatever I'm trying to say, nice early position, unlucky with the shot. Yes, go ahead and support that middle if you have shots, but I would have pretty quickly tried to get over to the west side, maybe blunt that push, if not even help your guys win. I mean, just imagine a Scorpion shows up and starts dropping 500 on people. You might have been able to keep those dudes alive and maybe even win that flank. Nice job once it did fail, falling back into that corner and working with everybody. I gave you a couple things to think about as far as positioning, your camera view angles, maybe being slightly more aggressive and poking. I know you were worried about the Lurva and probably the 1-2 punch from the Lurva. Actually, the Lurva could have... did we have 900 hit points at that point? I don't remember where we lost those hit points. I think they were all already hit points that we lost them to. So yeah, he probably could have one-shot you there. That's a debatable one as far as being a little too over-aggressive and getting poked by the Scorpion. But you maintained your position, you maintained your hit points, and you kept putting out damage when you had an opportunity. So there's not a whole bunch to argue right there. Maybe a little bit more support of the Lurva, but look at the dude. He gets in there, loses some hit points, and is able to knock down, how many kills did he end up with? 3? Well, there you go. Nice job on his part. Barask was playing a great game, just made a little bit of a mistake on the line of sight thing right there and got closed out. But as far as spotting and keeping everything honest, did a nice job. That is all I've got for today, guys. Let me know what you think down below. If you have any more tips for Jicanizo, especially for you Scorpion G players, chuck them down in the comments. Thanks for coming. That is all I've got. We will see you.